Hello there to you all. I do hope you're well. I assume you've heard the government's announcement that restrictions on us will significantly reduce in early July, and that this means we'll be allowed to have services in our churches again from then. And I assume, like me, that you're processing your thoughts and feelings about it. I'm talking to you now because there are some decisions we need to make together about how we do this and about how we are church together, at least for the time being. So at core, I'm asking you to have a real think about how we can be community together in this coming time, bearing in mind our desires, our limitations, and our needs. For your consideration, I'd like to outline what I feel are our restrictions, our needs, our desires, and some of the opportunities I'd like us to explore at this coming time. And when you've given it some thought, I'd like you to contact me or any member of the ministry team so that we can discuss this with our PCCs and make some decisions. Now, the first thing I want to outline are some of the limitations we're facing. I need to tell you that the service pattern that we've enjoyed before lockdown can't really be replicated, and we do need to live within our means, and a number of things are at play. The first is that Reverend Lancaster has been covering 2 Kitten Bolton services a month, but is now clear that he won't be able to continue doing that. He'll still be around, he'll still pop up and serve in different ways, I'm sure, but I won't be putting him on the rota to lead services on my behalf. Now, the second thing is many of you won't actually know this, but I am actually one of the 2 million or so people who have been advised to shield themselves due to a pre-existing health condition. Now, that means I'm not actually available personally to take any services until the beginning of August at the earliest. Now, the area dean has expressed willingness to help, and I'm sure he would if asked, but I can't do anything before then. And I should also let you know that others in the ministry team are actually somewhat reticent about going back to normal. That's because they've a mixture of age and some health concerns that are sitting behind that. Now, another aspect of our limitations is that we expect to be fairly limited in what we can do when we are in church. It seems probable that the church's guidance will restrict public singing. We'll certainly have to keep our distance from one another, and we won't be sharing refreshments or fellowship in any practical way for some time. Our shared worship may well feel rather sparse for a while. So, question number 1 is, how do we have a pattern of services that works within our means? In particular, my question is, do we restart in July sometime, or do we wait until it's easier to be together all at once? So next, I want to outline some of the limitations I'm aware of in our communities. Now, whilst there are going to be many of us eager to get together again, we also have a number of people and families who are shielded like me and who will not be able to join us till August at the earliest. So my second question is, how do we stay together with those who are not able to join us as they continue to be very careful socially? Now, another thing in my mind is how we rejoin as communities, how we reconnect with those who've been isolated, how we feel reunited and reassured as we come together again. Some of my feeling about this is it would be much better for us to hold services with the whole ministry team present at the same time and together with you, rather than having things as they were with all of us kind of dashing back and forth and rarely getting to be together with you together. So my next question is whether perhaps for a time we have services with maybe a cluster of our churches together at one time, perhaps in a northern or a southern grouping, and perhaps using only 1 or 2 buildings in our whole group, where we've worked particularly hard to make them as safe a space as possible. Now, the other concern in my mind is about how we keep hold of the many good things that we've achieved in these last 3 months. Now, you won't know this, but our average daily views on our YouTube channel this month has been 83 per day. Our Easter service had 340 views. An average Sunday service hovers around 150 views. And some of our daily uploads, that's just me rambling quite often, we approach or exceed 100 views. So something really good is happening about how we connect with people. And at no point in all of that have we had to say to them, come to church. Because what we are can be available at any time and at basically any place. And not only that, but many more of us are sharing in daily prayer and reflection who actually never did or didn't quite know how to. And people who would find it fairly odd to come to a group in a house to do God stuff are joining in quite happily through the internet. And the impression I get is that many more people have been growing in their faith than we ever imagined could be possible just through turning up on a Sunday. Now, similarly, many of you have been enjoying Zoom groups. Pamela, for example, has continued her Wednesday afternoon group. I've got one that's got some younger parents in, and they've been able to join in because they didn't have to get babysitters or leave the comfort of their own home. And hasn't it been delightful seeing the range of young faces joining in with some of our services? And let's not forget, for many young people, actually, church is boring and families are really busy. It's not just easy or appealing committing to a church service on a day at a time where a family works shifts or perhaps has shared childcare. So I feel, without meaning to, we've grown some capability that benefits the housebound, it benefits the socially restricted, it benefits those who are time poor, and it also benefits the easily bored or the shy about faith. And what kind of amazes me is at no point have we said, come to church. So my final question is how we build from the benefits that we've accrued and which parts are we going to keep? Do we need or want daily prayers? Or are there other teaching materials or daily rambles that you would still need or want? So let me summarise the questions, because I want you to have a think and get back to me over the next week so we can plan accordingly. So number one, how do we have a pattern of services that works within our ministry team's means? In particular, do we restart in July sometime, or do we wait till it's easier to be together at once and leave it till August? Number two, how do we stay together with those who are not able to join us physically, and as they continue to be very careful socially? They are still us, and we mustn't marginalise them. Thirdly, do we, for a time, have services with a cluster of churches, perhaps in a northern or southern grouping, perhaps using only 2 of our buildings, which will be the ones we've been able to make as safe as possible? Fourthly, how do we build from the benefits we've accrued from the work we've been doing online, and which parts are we going to keep? Now, I welcome your advice. Please do get in contact over the next week. I'm sending this out as a letter, and I want you as individuals, as groups, as friends, as PCCs, as church wardens, to chew over these questions and anything else you think about. I need to work something out that works for us as individual communities, as individuals, but as also a whole community of faith together. Please let me know what you think. And as you may not know, right now the plan is actually on the 5th of July, our friends in Barham are going to lead an online service. So actually the first possible service might be the 12th of July. As I say, I'm not in a hurry, and I would really appreciate your guidance. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.